Dear residents of Punggol East, good evening to you. Tatia, Wan Shang Hao. Over the weekend, I was helping my colleague. I have to say thank you to the drummer for every rally he has come. One up for the drummer. Over the weekend, I was helping my colleague and candidate for Punggol East, Lee Lilian, campaign in the estate. And I met the residents at Block 112, which is located at the junction of Sengkang East Drive and Sengkang East Way. If you look out from this block, you will see the beautiful side of Serangoon River and the forested area beyond. Now, in the middle of last year, the residents of Pasir Ris Heights went to see their MP, whose name is DPM Teo Chee Hian. Now, they wanted to preserve the forested green area, the size of about 2 football fields that had been set aside for the construction of an international school. 6 out of 9 residents interviewed by a Today reporter said that they were in favor of preserving the woodland. Earlier this month, around the 9th of January, the residents at this area, Pasir Ris Heights, stopped to prevent HDB contractors from chopping down a tree which was home to about 90 parrots. I think all the parrots were WP supporters. The Ministry of National Development said that they are unable to accede to the residents' request to preserve this woodland about the size of 2 football fields. Now, my friends, you may be wondering why this little episode is so significant for all Singaporeans, especially those of us who live near pockets of greenery and green lungs, like in Pasir Ris or in Bukit Brown or just near Punggol. DPM Teo said yesterday that the WP has avoided taking a stand on major issues, for example, on population. But before one can take a stand on a major issue, it is important to be fully transparent about the facts and realities about the trade-offs that Singaporeans have to make with regard to the PAP government's population plans. So far, the government has interpreted these trade-offs in economic terms. This is a relevant consideration, but there are many other considerations that the government needs to look into because they are related to the quality of our life, especially if the government has some plan to increase the population to 7 or 8 or don't know how many million. Our elites may enjoy themselves in the gardens of their landed properties, but the rest of us rely on public spaces to relax and rejuvenate. The PAP elites do not see and feel the reality of a large number of foreigners and migrants in HDB estates on a daily basis, but ordinary Singaporeans do. Singaporeans do not hate new immigrants and foreigners, but we do have a right to say, how much is enough? Instead of blaming Singaporeans for being anti-foreigner, maybe the government can put itself in our shoes and ask itself how it would feel if a piece of our woodland or greenery that brought peace and comfort to us was taken away in the name of development. Or if road congestion because of high COE prices makes cars and light vehicles unaffordable for the average Singaporean, how would you feel? The government says that to plan for a larger population is the responsible thing to do. But isn't it also responsible to accept what your limits are and to ensure that the quality of life of Singaporeans do not suffer? Don't just ask those who have enough money to retire overseas or the scholars who have 2 or 3 properties which earn a rental income what their ideal population size for Singapore is. Ask your heartlanders. who have to stay in their HDB flat, take crowded public transport in the morning and evening, and see that their dreams of upgrading their house or buying a bigger HDB flat has vanished before their eyes, since the property prices have doubled while your salaries have not. How do these people feel? MND Minister Khaw Boon Wan recently announced during the Pongolese by-elections that 200,000 new units will be ready in the years to come and that property prices should moderate as a result. But if the government plans to bring new immigrants in the next few years, will these additional units all go? What then? Will the prices moderate? Or can we expect yet another round of cooling measures to satisfy Singaporeans and to scare developers? My friends, the developers are not scared. After the government introduced the 7th round of cooling measures, some developers have already offered discounts to fight the government's cooling measures, just as they did after the government's previous 6 failed attempts to cool the market. Even the government's policies don't seem to be moderating prices. And if prices continue to rise and make the rich and poor gap even wider, I hope the government doesn't come out and say, we didn't anticipate this. Because you should have anticipated it. Unlike other immigrant-friendly countries that have a countryside where its citizens can retire and relax, this little red dot is all we have. DPM Teo says, we have not taken a stand on major issues. But I would like to ask the DPM to take a stand on the population size the PAP is working towards and how it plans to retain a patriotism for Singapore, integrating new immigrants and preserving our way of life without dividing this country. In October last year, I asked DPM Teo whether his ministry had considered the reality of more immigrants creating an even larger elderly population for future generations of Singaporeans to look after. Because the latest 2010 census data reveal that new immigrants are also not reproducing and they're not replacing themselves. The point is this: you can bring more people, but are you pushing the problem into the hands of the next generation by increasing your population size? Even immigrants will get old. What becomes the solution then in 20 or 30 years' time? Increase population again. I certainly hope to see some answers in the government's white paper on population. And you can be sure the WP MPs will be speaking up in Parliament about this when the white paper is debated. Residents of Pongolese, the Workers' Party will continue to hold the government to account and serve you to the best of our abilities. We will constantly press the government for more information, especially since it is so selective with the information it releases. Since GE 2011, an increased opposition presence in Parliament has led to the uncovering of interesting details about governance in Singapore under the PAP. During the AIM saga that took place a few weeks ago, we all got to know that there is such a thing as a fully owned PAP company. What many fair-minded Singaporeans want to know is how many fully owned PAP companies are there in Singapore, or maybe even overseas. What are their names? Who are the directors? These questions, raised by many Singaporeans in the name of good governance, have so far gone unanswered. While the Prime Minister has ordered an investigation under the auspices of MND, it is not known if this aspect of the AIM saga will be answered. I certainly hope, and I hope the residents of Pongolese also hope, that these questions are answered. Residents of Punggol East, we have a lot more to do in this journey to bring balance into Singapore politics. With a view to greater social equity and fairness, everybody needs to play their part, make a commitment to be more politically active, and take an interest in the national issues that affect all of us. As we play our part, let's make sure the government plays its part. As this is the last rally, I want to read out a comment that was posted on a Yahoo article entitled, "Workers' Party has redefined Singapore politics." I was there at the rally on 11 January 2013 at around 8 p.m. Before reaching the field from Rumbia LRT, being considerate, a regular middle-aged guy was directing people to the left through the block of flats, saying that there is a drier route to the rally site. One guy dropped his phone in the muddy field, and a stranger spotted him and told him, "There it is," and even provided him a pack of tissue to clean his phone. Residents of Punggol East, who are these people this person saw helping each other? They are all of you. They are all of us. They are the face of Singapore. Ordinary men and women who came to support the courage and determination of people like Lee Li Lian. The PAP will never be able to understand this emotion because the elitist route which they are on, with a lack of accountability and transparency, ignores ordinary Singaporeans. Let's bring some balance back into Parliament and fill it up with people who speak up for ordinary Singaporeans. Come 26 January. Come 26 January. Vote for the Workers' Party. Vote for Lee Li Lian. Thank you.